Minnesota dentist who killed a beloved lion has flared to new proportions. Activists are flooding social media and his clinic with waves of criticism. Kevin Tibbles of NBC News has the story.
The big game hunter now the target of animal activists and critics, angry with Minnesota dentist Walter Palmer, following his admission that he killed the beloved lion named Cecil earlier this month in Africa. Outside his closed dental office in Minnesota, a memorial of stuffed animals and signs for Cecil the lion has grown.
Had I known he was this horrible, vicious, big game sport hunter, I wouldn't have been visiting his practice for all these years.
No sign of Dr. Palmer, but in a letter to patients, he again said he had no idea the lion hunt may have been illegal and vowed to cooperate with authorities, adding, "I don't often talk about hunting with my patients because it can be a divisive and emotionally charged topic." Palmer maintains he paid his guides to obtain proper permits. Critics have been loud, deluging the Yelp page for Dr. Palmer's practice with thousands of negative comments. Several petitions surfaced online, one asking President Obama to extradite Dr. Palmer to Zimbabwe to face possible criminal charges. Others, like rocker Ted Nugent, came to Palmer's defense, writing, "All animals reproduce every year and would run out of room, food to live without hunting." Cecil was 13, a tourist favorite, fitted with a tracking collar studied by researchers.
The lion Cecil, it was a remarkable individual, remarkable particularly because we have studied him for so long.
Experts say Cecil's killing could endanger the safety of his many cubs.
You'll have a situation where outside young males might try to come in and take over the pride. And if they're successful taking over, they could kill all the young from the previous dominant male.
That was Kevin Tibbles of NBC News. Joining me now is Dr. Reese Halter, conservation biologist and author of Shepherding the Sea. Cecil the lion's death was discovered because he wore a tracking device. Could there be other egregious killings of rare animals that we don't even know about, similar to African-American people dying at the hands of police people? The video has proved it. Now we have evidence of what's going on here.
Yeah, good evening, Michael. Exactly right. While this lunacy, this psychotic behavior was taking place, a couple thousand miles away at the same time in Tsavo National Park in Kenya, 5 elephant males were murdered for their tusks, 135 pounds each. That's 1.2 million on the black market. And it's ecocide, Michael, and it also highlights the fact that we're in the midst of the 6th great mass extinction. In the last 30 years alone, 50% of all wildlife is gone. And for seabirds, Michael, that's 70%, 230 million animals gone at the hands of humans.
Wow, that's a pretty stunning and astonishing number. Some trophy hunter advocates argue that their activity funds conservation. You even heard Ted Nugent talk about the kind of ecosystem being righted by the killing of these animals. What's your response?
Well, number one, anybody who hunts animals for fun is displaying psychotic behavior. Number two, if they're really if they've got a lot of disposable income, my best suggestion is get yourself a really good camera, get up really close, Michael, get some great shots, and buy 500 or 1,000 billboards, put your name on it, and allow the wild animals to be free. Look, in the last 30 years, the lion population has been halved. And I think really the answer here is that love, #love is the solution. And that if people are really moved by all this, that they can consider a plant-based diet, go vegan, and each of us are powerful, and we together can make a hell of a difference, Michael.
Do you think the outrage over the lion killing being a greater focus will bring a greater focus to environmental and wildlife issues? Do you think it'll really up the ante, so to speak, for people who have this kind of behavior?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a seed of goodness comes out of all this, and it raises people's consciousness. Compassion and hashtag love is what we have, and that is really all we have. And together, I think the most important thing is that we are powerful, and when we come together, we move mountains.
Let me ask you this very brief question. Deeply and profoundly concerned about animals, but we see a greater interest sometimes in animals of the wild kingdom, so to speak, than human beings here. We know it's not an either or. It's not a zero-sum game. Can you speak directly as an environmentalist to the issue that all lives, that people's lives as human beings matters, as well as the tremendous, precious character of these animals' lives as well?
Absolutely right. All of us matter. And I think, here's what a lot of people don't understand. In these developing countries like a Zimbabwe, organized crime has moved in. Organized crime has moved in. Organized crime is running the poaching and the looting, and they pay cash on the barrel for tusks, for rhino horns, for big game hunting. I mean, $55,000 was paid to lure illegally Cecil the lion out of this reserve, and we've got to get back to here that we're all part of the ecosystem, people and animals and plants and air and water, and if we remove all the animals, well, we're going to be next.
All right, Reese Halter, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, that's so good.
Still to come on the Ed Show.
Great interview.
They say there's no crying in bed.